Hi guys, welcome to another episode of The Crystal Goddess. Now, today we're going to be talking all things amethyst. Amethyst. I don't know about you, but I love this crystal. I love this gemstone completely. In fact, it was one of the first, if not the first, gemstones I ever encountered. And it was certainly the first piece of jewellery that I ever had. And I had many rings. I think it was a ring I had for the first time. It was a ring. My 13th birthday. It was a 9-carat gold ring with an amethyst, and I loved it for years. I wore it so much I bent the gold, and in the end I had to get rid of it, but it was my favourite ring. I also got a bit bigger and it didn't fit so much. Traumatic when that happens, but I did carry on growing after the age of 13 for a little while. I know I'm not very tall, but for a little while I did. So what would you like to know about amethyst? It's part of the quartz family. Quartz it is. It is, I always say trigonal. I know that's probably not the way you say it. I think it's trigonal, but trigonal or trigonal in its structure. It can form in clusters like this. It can also form in massive formation, and it can form in doubly terminated crystals as well. These are amazing. Doubly terminated crystals, you quite often find them in Vera Cruz, and they tend to be the lighter coloured purple, and the darker coloured purple doubly terminated crystals you quite often find in Morocco, and they are amazing. They are so incredible. I was very lucky to work, when I was working with jewellery, to work with some beautiful pieces of Moroccan amethyst. Now, Moroccan amethyst, I don't know if you know, actually has inclusions of hematite in it, so you get these little flashes of red going through the amethyst, and it's just the most beautiful thing because you don't often see red in a quartz. So the look is fabulous, and the depth of the purple as well. Talking of colour, so the reason amethyst is coloured the way it is because of impurities of manganese. So manganese gives it that purple colour. You will often find manganese is the colouring agent in most pink gemstones, or quite often purple gemstones as well. But the depth of the colour is dependent on the level of iron that's included in there as well. So if you've got not a lot of iron, you'll get a very pale colour. If you've got lots of iron, you'll get that really fabulous, deep, rich purple. It's just beautiful. It is a 7 on the Mohs scale, although inclusions and impurities can lower that slightly, but in general it is a 7 on the Mohs scale. It's had a massive history, really. I mean, amethyst is one of those, it's kind of a heartbreaking story because at one point it was more popular than diamonds. It was a lot harder to get a hold of diamonds at one point because diamonds were readily available, as they are now still, but at that point you could get lots of diamonds, but you couldn't get a lot of this stuff. In fact, it was only when the Brazilian find sources were found that it went from being classed as a precious gemstone to a semi-precious gemstone. It is one of the stones that are in the breastplate of Aaron as well, so if you're interested in that side of things, it's in the breastplate of Aaron. Astrologically, it is often associated with Aquarius, although it has got associations with Pisces, Virgo, and also Capricorn as well. This is quite often known as a meditation stone, and it is great for meditation because it's a prophetic stone. It helps if you're you can do guided meditations with it, but if you're wanting to have those kind of prophetic meditations where you get glimpses of things that might happen or things that could happen, then this is the crystal for you. It is a brilliant one. It's great as well at balancing the intellectual. Ooh, don't know if you can see that, but just little striations on it there. Beautiful. Anyway, it's great at balancing the intellectual, the emotional, and the physical bodies as well. Now, I've not actually covered any of the kind of elements of what type of bodies you have, but you do have varying different bodies. You have your physical body, your emotional body, your spiritual body. I'm sure I'll cover that at some point. Historically, this has got lots of different stories. Historically, there are stories from Roman myths where people were turned into pillars of amethyst. There are stories about it stopping you from getting drunk. That was one of the things that was believed for a very long time. Can I just point out that is not true? We think that kind of side or idea of it came from the fact that the Greeks and the Romans would often carve amethyst into goblets. And you have rich owners of land, of shops, of being merchants, various things like that. And what happens if somebody steals from you? Or what happens if someone sleeps with your wife? Or what happens if somebody, I don't know, breaks something and doesn't tell you about it and you want to get the information out? Well, quite often it's believed that everybody would be given these amethyst goblets to drink out of. They've been invited for a meal, they'd have the amethyst goblets, and everybody would be served red wine except the person at the head of the table who wanted to know the information. They would have water or some other form of non-alcoholic beverage, so they could keep drinking, and they could drink a lot. And when they drank, everyone else wanted to drink as well. But when they drank, they were sober because they were not drinking alcohol, whereas everybody else was. So the owner, the landowner, the shop owner, or whatever it was, the merchant, could quite happily sit there, not getting drunk at all, get everybody else drunk and find out the information that he wanted to find out. So that's where it's believed that that kind of side of it came from, but it cannot stop you from getting drunk. If you drink alcohol, you will get drunk. It is as simple as that. It's a bit of a myth, that one. A bit of a myth. It is, however, used to aid you to get the strength to overcome addictions. So it gives you just that little bit more energy to get over things that might have been holding you back in the past. Things such as alcohol or drugs or things like that. But it is a case that it's a guide and an aid. It cannot stop you from getting drunk. It's as simple as that. But it's a very nice story. And I'd like to very much one day have myself my own amethyst goblet. The other thing it's used for is it's quite often used for treating insomnia. I did use it at one point for this, but because it's a prophetic stone as well, if you are sensitive, or if you have clairvoyant tendencies, or if you have clairsentient tendencies or clairaudio tendencies, anything like that, I would highly recommend not using this for insomnia purposes, purely because your dreams become very vivid and sometimes a little bit uncomfortable and a little bit... I don't really want to dream that anymore. So yeah, I had experiences where I was having some very vivid, very not pleasant dreams when I had this by my bedside table. As soon as I moved it, that kind of stopped. So if you are sensitive, I'd highly recommend selenite as an alternative if you're looking at the insomnia side of things. But it's a great all-rounder, and again, perfect for meditation, great if you want to work on your spiritual awareness, great if you want to level up and ascend that little bit more. So it's stunning. And whether you put it in silver, or whether you put it in gold, or whether you have it as a cluster, it's just one of those gemstones that I highly recommend you have. It is brilliant. Thank you for joining me this time on the Crystal Goddess. Hopefully I'll see you again very soon. Please do like and subscribe, and if you've got any comments, please do pop them down below. I'll answer any questions that I can, and I hope to see you very soon. Mwah! Love to all.